Tanya for the 19th of Teves, but first the story. The famous student of the Maggid of Koznitz, Rabbi Shlomo of Koznitz, also known as the Koznitz Maggid, he was a student of the Maggid and later on a student of Rabbi Melech Luzhensk, and he was an incredible tzaddik. And he made his travels, and one time he came to the city of Apta, and he would give speeches in the shul, and the community asked him, could you give a speech in the shul? And this time he refused. He said, last time I came here, did I accomplish a single thing in my speech? I don't see any point in giving another speech. The community were very, very upset, but they didn't know how to answer the Rabbi Shlomo Koznitz back. There was one simple artisan. It was a simple man. He doesn't sound like he was any degree of rabbinical position. He was just a regular worker that lived in the city of Apta. And he said he wants to talk to the Maggid of Koznitz. And he came to the Maggid of Koznitz and said, last time you were here, you spoke about the idea of Shavisi Hashem L'negdi Sami. That David HaMelech writes in Tehillim that a person should always have Hashem in front of him. Always in front. David HaMelech writes, I have set Hashem always before me. And he said, ever since you said that last time you were here, I see the name of Hashem with black fire over white fire, and I tremble in awe of that sight. And when the Maggid of Koznitz heard the simple man say how he was impacted by his last speech, he decided, all right, I'll speak again. And he spoke, and he greatly inspired the community. The Tanya so far is in chapter 13. We're still in the middle. And the Alter Rebbe is starting to answer the questions, but as we mentioned yesterday, in addition to just answering the questions, the Alter Rebbe very, very much so is furthering the conversation. The Alter Rebbe is using the questions as leverage to push the ideas further and to give them practical and understandable parameters. And so yesterday we answered two of the questions. Question number one, what does that mean in the Gemara in Brachos? It says that in a Beinani both inclinations judge, and why judge? And we also answered the question why the person should consider himself to be a Beinani. What's going on with that? The person should think that he's a Rasha, even if the whole world is telling him he's righteous. We explained that. Today's Tanya, we're going to deal with another one of the questions at the very beginning of the Tanya, and that is, why was it that Rabbah, this incredible righteous Amora, one of the most prolific authors and rabbis mentioned in the Gemara, why did he say, I'm a Beinani? Why didn't he say he was a tzaddik? We're able to understand it a little bit now, but the Alter Rebbe is going to answer that question, but also very much further the discussion. You can have a person, continues the Alter Rebbe in today's Tanya, who's learning Torah all day and all night for its sake, not, as we're going to mention much later throughout the year, about different types of learning of Torah. In this case, he's really doing it for the sake of Hashem. You might say he's learning Torah all day and night. That means he's got rid of the evil. Says Alter Rebbe, absolutely not. That's not a proof at all. It could be it could be that the evil still remains on the left side of his heart, and it could be that it's still at full strength. So why doesn't he feel it? Why is it that he's able to learn all day and all night for the right intentions in a real way? Says Alter Rebbe, it could be, and again, there's a lot to explain in one shot, but this is what Alter Rebbe is saying. It could be that the person doesn't feel any of the wickedness inside himself, and he imagines that he has gotten rid of all of the evil, because the evil is not presenting itself when he's learning, and he's learning day and night. And the answer is the godly soul, while he's learning, has invested itself into his thought, into his speech, and his actions, and all the limbs of his body, just like during prayer. And therefore, using the natural supremacy that God gives to the godly soul, he's able to be in control of the small city, and everyone, all of them, serving Hashem in thought, speech, and action. But here's the thing, this is where it gets a little sticky. You might think that this person is a tzaddik. שהאהבת השם הוא בהסקלוס לבי באיטימוס ומאנים כמו בשעס התפילה ויוסי בה, ואף גם זויס הפעם אינה רק שליטה ומשל לבד כדסיב להם ימאס שזה קם, זה הנפק, זה קם כולו. Now, even though the person during davening or during the learning is an extremely high connection to Hashem, and he has a love of Hashem, and it's manifesting itself, and it's revealing itself in his heart, and he's feeling it, even then, it's not absolute destruction of the animalistic soul and the evil within inside himself. It's just domination. He's in charge, shlita. He's in charge of the animal soul. The animal soul doesn't say a peep. It's quiet. It's silent. At the same time, it doesn't mean in the slightest that this Beinani actually has gotten rid of the evil. No, the evil's there. And it's there as strong as it was from the very moment when it fully came in. And just like we said, when one rises, the other one prevails, etc., etc. Now this Beinani is having a very elevated experience. And that elevated experience might go for a long time, but still he's a Beinani. What defines him as a Beinani? Why is he not a tzaddik? Because he still has evil inside himself. Using strength, gvura, and using bina, this Beinani is able to strong arm the animal soul into absolute silence. And therefore, this Beinani beglows Hashem Eitzah Baruchu lahoiled av avdon Hashem krisha eish b'chol yamanish v'lebo v'az hiskafis she'achar sh'chol smali. And what happens is he is able to think about the greatness of Hashem, create a passionate love towards Hashem in the right side of his heart, and then he's able to dominate and press over the left side of his heart and subjugate it. But in a Beinani, it's not entirely abolished. He hasn't absolutely destroyed the evil. Only about a tzaddik is such a thing possible. About a tzaddik is written. David HaMelech says, he testifies about himself, my heart is empty inside of me. David HaMelech actually managed to get rid of the evil inclination, and it was empty. It was entirely not there. There was no evil inside David HaMelech. And like we said in chapter 10, depending whether the tzaddik is complete tzaddik or incomplete tzaddik, that's how much hatred he'll have towards evil, either complete hatred or almost complete hatred. Whatever the case is, a tzaddik is someone who has absolutely banished the evil. In a Beinani, though, the evil's there, just like it was at the very first moment when he was born. Of a Beinani who derech mashik ha'adam sheyashen, sheyachal lachsav alein mishasi, kacha rab Beinani who yashem b'chal al-smalim b'shas, kri shema tzfilah, shalim b'bei b'avas Hashem, v'acha kach yachal yeschiz v'neya. But in the case of a Beinani, it's like the animalistic soul has gone to sleep. He can wake up. So just because a person is sleeping, say, oh, well, that person, there's nothing to be had. Yeah, he's sleeping right now. Scream a little or wake him up. That person's now awake, and there's a whole different scenario. In the case of the Beinani, the evil is asleep when he is saying Shema, when he's saying Shemoneh Esrei. His heart is on fire. He's feeling a love towards Hashem, and that's incredible. But after the davening's over, then the evil wakes up again, and it's just as strong as it ever was. And now we're finally answering the question. And therefore, Rabba imagined, maybe I'm a Beinani. After even though Rabba very famously never stopped for a single moment saying Torah, and he was involved in learning Hashem, and he was learning, and his desire was for Hashem's Torah all day. And when he was learning, his love and his craving and his longing towards Hashem was like when a regular person is saying Shema and Shemoneh. So that's what Rabba's learning like experience was. And therefore, he thought in his own eyes, he imagined, because he learned Torah all day and all night, and his Torah level was on the level of loving Hashem to the ultimate extreme, he imagined, maybe if I stop learning for a hot second, I'll go back, I'll go and I'll start having impulses and I want to do dreadful things. He was a tzaddik, but in his own mind, he imagined that if I would stop learning Torah, perhaps my evil would wake up again. Like I'd be sleeping the whole time because I didn't give it a chance to ever wake up. But if I stopped learning Torah for a moment, it'll wake up. He never tried because he wanted to learn Torah all day. But he said, maybe I'm a Beinani. And so therefore, Rabba imagined in his own mind that he was a Beinani because he never got the chance to really litmus test that really separates a Beinoni from a tzaddik. Like the Rabbi say, would it be incredible if not? Would a person pray all day long? To summarize today's Tanya, we answering the question of Rabbah. Why did Rabbah call himself a Beinoni? Because a Beinoni has complete control of his thought, speech, and action, and a Beinoni is feeling a passionate love towards Hashem during davening. And Rabbah, because he learned Torah on the level of prayer with such a passionate love towards Hashem when he learned Torah, and he learned Torah all day, he imagined, well, all I experience is perhaps just a Beinoni-like experience, but I experience it the whole day, and therefore really I'm just a Beinoni, I'm not a tzaddik. He never got a chance to really experience what it's like for him to stop having a prayer-like experience. So in his particular case, he wasn't sure. Maybe I'm a Beinoni, maybe I'm a tzaddik, I don't know. There was no way for him to know. So if he said, okay, I'm probably a Beinoni. Thank you so much for joining the Tanya. The Tanya is the Nishmas 5 of the days ben Yamin Halevi, Moshe Aaron, Hakayim ben Yosef, Reuven ben Emmanuel, Aaron ben Avram, Esther Basra, Moshe Manacha, Yisrael ben Davish, Bat Spice, Swish, but Shani Rezi, Elkochach, Savag Daim, and Ahmed ben Gedaya, Eliyahu, Moshe ben Avram, Sarah Miriam Bas Chaim ben Yamin, Chaim Moshe Bas Shimon Avram, and Fush of Yak ben Aaron ben Nasbat, Lad Kel, Chadim Moshe Barcha, ben Yakad Moshe ben Nessa, ben Ahmed ben Neil, Levas Yana Moshe ben Mino, Yehuda Leben Mania, Yosef ben Shtan Asar, and Shubakar, Yehuda ben Rivka, anyone else in these Yeshua's unsuccessful Jews on the world, special successful soldiers who defend the Jewish people and speedily return the captive. Have a wonderful, very successful day. Thanks so much for joining.